Howdy Patriots, segment 198. Today I am titling this one What We're Up Against and Will This Country Survive? Most of what I point out you're probably already aware of. No news to you, but again, this is my platform to give my opinion and to do some venting. Now I have to laugh because there was a member on the social media site that I'm on that replied to one of my other videos, and he put out this question like, "Who is this nobody? Who is this nobody? Who posted this? This nobody." um, in the scheme of things, I guess with my 369 followers on here, I don't have the platform that Dan Bongino had or Tucker Carlson, and so in the scheme of things, I guess I really am. But I really wish that I could get away from politics and what is happening in the country. It would be so easy to do that, wouldn't it? But I come on here and I give you my thoughts, and I can tell you that behind the scenes, behind these videos, there are a lot more things I do. I do take on city councils, I do take on county commissioners. Um, they don't like me very much, and in the scheme of things, I really don't give one shit. When it comes to this country, this is the only one we have. And from the things that I'm going to point out and things that you already know, I can't sit back and watch it be destroyed. So I do what I do. I do what I can to help this country. So do I care what he says? He has every right to say what he wants to say, but um, a lot of people don't have a clue. And so a lot of decisions or opinions that they spew out there, this is when they just shoot their opinions from the hip and have no clue. Anyway, enough of that. Um, what we're up against. So we have at least 30% of the country, at least, that want to destroy it. Um, whether it's getting rid of our future generations through abortions, taking away our history, taking away our religion, trying to take away our children. They want total control of our children. Damn the parents. The parents can't make a decision about their children's lives. They want total control of our children. Taking away our freedom in general. Taking away our freedoms. Period. They don't want us to be free. They want us to be censored. They want. They do not want to hear our opinions. They do not want us to fight for the rule of law. Rigging elections. This is how they remain in power. Doing everything they possibly can to cheat. And then it doesn't help, and I'll throw it out here, it doesn't help when we don't go out and vote. If we stay at home and just complain about what's going on, but we don't try and stop it by voting, that doesn't help either. And then you've got the criminals out there, the DNC. I call them the DNC hit squad. The criminals out there that are the dumbasses interfering with ICE, Border Patrol, and the DNC or Soros or whoever that are paying them to riot and attack these people. So most of that falls under the 30%. Of course, there's a lot more that they do, and I'll bring up some more of that as I go along. We have a Congress. We have a Congress, both GOP and Dem, that only care about getting rich. I've mentioned this before. They have a $175,000 salary when they go to Congress, and they come out millionaires. They don't care about us. They're getting caught with tax evasion, insider trading. Hell, one of them was screwing a CCP spy, for God's sakes, and to this day still has gotten away with it. Um, our GOP, our GOP is really worthless, and until they prove otherwise, I they're not America first, and they're doing everything they possibly can to stop President Trump's agenda. Got a segment on there about GOP sabotaging President Trump's second term. There is plenty, more than plenty, that they could have already done. They could have been out there defunding all these radical activist judges that are imposing lawfare left and right daily against President Trump's what he's trying to get done. They could have defunded him. They could have impeached him. Haven't done a damn thing yet. They could have passed all the Doge cuts. I think they only passed $9 billion. Could have done that. Haven't done that. Could have confirmed nominees faster. Senator Thune sat on his ass. Leader Thune sat on his ass for 10 months, complaining, bitching, pissing, and moaning that the Democrats were holding things up while his son-in-law got it confirmed. He was holding up all. It was him. It was him that was holding things up. For 10 months, nominees weren't getting confirmed. And then all of a sudden, in one day, 100 of them got confirmed. Imagine that. They could be introducing bills. You hear them screaming and about colleges and them being indoctrination centers. They hear them screaming about how bad they are. And they threaten to do this, that, and the other thing. They haven't done it. Defund the colleges. Defund the universities. Defund the indoctrination centers. Anyone that's stealing taxpayer dollars, anyone that's stealing taxpayer dollars, needs to be taken down. And that includes every frickin' 3-letter agency in DC. They haven't done anything. The DOJ hasn't done anything to start prosecuting those for the cheating of the 2020 election. She has been instructed by President Trump to start looking into election integrity in the country. I haven't seen anything. President Trump has been making some small wins. Of course, judges trying to shut him down. They don't want to hand over voter rolls, things like that. He is slowly winning those cases. Harmeet Dillon is on the prowl. She's winning some cases. Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton is out there. He's cleaning up voter rolls. Congress ain't doing shit. Not one thing for our election integrity. FBI could be making more arrests. Kash Patel could be cleaning the FBI, the rogue FBI agents out. 257 of them were roaming around the Capitol during J6. I haven't heard whether they've been taken down. I haven't heard whether they've been kicked out. I haven't heard whether they've been arrested. ICE, I mean, they're doing what they can. They're deporting people, but they need to step it up. 20,000. It's got to be at least 20,000 a day that need to be deported to make up for all the trash that came across the country, into the country, the last 4 years. And now, and now we're hearing that prisons are, that people working in prisons are starting to leave and start working for ICE, and the poor criminals aren't getting enough food and their dental hygiene products. You know what? I don't give a shit. Prison is for you to go to. You fucked up in the community, and now you go there to sit every day and think to yourself why you're sitting in that prison cell. It's not for you to go and get 3 square luxurious meals. It's not a 5-star hotel. You're not in there for us to allow you to get a master's degree. You are to sit there and think about what you did wrong to get in there, and that's it. So yeah, ICE, 20,000 a day. They talk about these detention centers. I guess they need them if they've got a mass amount of deportees. They want to keep them in the detention centers for a certain period of time. If it was up to me, I'd fingerprint the bastards when they're arrested. You want to take a DNA sample, that's fine. Put them on a damn bus, take them down to the southern border, and wave your hand at them and say, adios, it's time for you to start walking back just the way you came here. We have the deep state. As I've said before, the deep state is very deep. It's a lot deeper than people think. And they're directing members of Congress pretty much daily, liberals and many other dickheads in this country. They're giving them ways to destroy the country. Why? Greed, power. The ultimate goal is to take this country down and control whatever's left over. And then we have George Soros. Oh my God. Why is this asshole still in this country? The State Department, yes, I know there was 8 years of Obama and 4 years of the dementia patient sitting in the White House, and the Dems had Congress for all these years. But now, why in the hell are we allowing this criminal to remain in this country? The State Department could freeze all of his assets and extradite his ass in a day. But for some reason, they're keeping him around. Why? Because a lot of Congress members have their hands in his piggy bank, his pockets, and that's probably one of the ways they're getting rich while they're sitting in Congress. Then we have illegal jihadists building numerous mosques in this country, inbreeding and getting elected a lot faster than I thought they would. They want to take us out. That's the bottom line. They want to take us out. In Texas alone, it's been reported in Texas alone that 50 mosques have been built in the last 24 months in Texas. And these mosques are admittedly being used to house terrorists and coordinate daily with terrorist groups. It's been admitted. And yet, we're allowing them to be built in this country because we don't want to be Islamophobic. Is that the reason? Governor Abbott, from what I understand, has now signed something designating the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. Okay. what's that going to do for the jihadists that are already in Texas, trying to take the state over? So you're labeling Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. That's okay if you want to keep them out of the country, but it really doesn't. It's a label. Unless you enforce what comes along with it, it does. It's, to me, it's showboating. He is just telling his citizens, "This is what I've done," and they gobble it up, and they're all happy, and yet Texas is still being overrun. It did absolutely nothing. I'm going to show you a video here in a little bit. There's this lady is reporting something. We had 76 Muslim candidates that recently ran for state, local, and judicial seats. And of those 76, 43 were elected. That's not good. If we want to keep them out of this country, if we want to keep them from taking over this country, that's not a good start. So let me show you this video.
Seattle elected socialist mayors, that Virginia elected Jay Jones, who called for political violence. Well, that's been our news cycle and the topic of the mainstream media. We have sort of just bypassed the fact that 76 Muslim candidates ran nationwide in the recent elections across state, local, and judicial races, and 43 of them have been declared winners, making it a 56.6% success rate. We have elected 5 Muslim mayors, 4 Muslim state legislators, 22 city or town council commissioners who are Muslim, 2 judges or county officials, 6 school board members who are Muslim, and 4 special district appointees. Why are we electing so many Muslim officials in our government? They're supposed to be 1.1% of the US population, so they are way, way overrepresented in our government. Because somehow, some way, the liberals have identified them as a DEI group, as a minority, when on a global scale, they're the majority. They make up 26% of the global population. They're the fastest growing group. And they openly tell us that they will be spreading, invading, taking over, conquering America via ballot or bullet. And it's working. Problem with that is they do not believe in preserving our freedoms. It's against their religion to do so, literally. Islam, it's not a religion, it's a culture, it's a way of life. It's designed to oppress, it's designed to conquer, it's designed to be violent, and we're not compatible. So why are we electing them to run our offices at a disproportionate rate?
Good question. Why are we? Well, one of the reasons, and I'll give Omar as an example, is because Obama shipped in 50 to 70,000 Somalians into District 5 in the Minnesota area, Minneapolis area. And so they elected a Somalian, Omar. Now, if it's coming out that these Muslims that were elected in city councils, judicial positions, if granted, there are going to be a group of them that are going to be voting to get them in office because they want them in office. But if we're finding out that Americans are not going to vote in these, this is why I have said time and freaking time again, you need to go and vote in every damn election. If we don't, and if we find out that this is the issue, that Americans didn't go out and vote for these positions to keep them out of office, then we reap what we sow, right? This should not be happening. And this is one of the biggest issues facing this country right now. Because if there's anybody other than China, Iran, possibly Russia, that want to take it down this country, this group is making it happen, and they're doing it very quickly. Then let me talk about some of the Americans. We have the welfare slugs who could get a job, who are physically capable of getting a job, but they won't, because they want the government to take care of them. And in some cases, I've heard this from many people in California on welfare, that they can make more money with being on welfare than if they went out and found a job. Then we have people, this is the biggest one that really frosts my cake. Then we have people on the right who are, I call them, they live in a bubble. They really don't care about what's going on in the country as long as it doesn't directly affect them. If there's something that bursts that bubble, then they get irate and they want everybody to jump on the bandwagon with them. But until then, they don't give a shit. Those are the people that I call freedom freeloaders. They expect everybody around them to fight for their freedoms. But when it comes to them doing it, they have excuses. They don't have the time. They've got other things that they've got to do. And then we have the group of sheep in this country that they just do whatever the government tells them to do. I call these people American Revolution loyalists. If the government barks and tells them to jump a certain height, they'll go ahead and do it. No questions asked. Then we have the people in this country that are intimidated by the left. They don't want to be called homophobes. They don't want to be called Islamophobics. They don't want to be labeled racists. And so they live in fear. They're intimidated by the left. And these labels that the left use, it's exactly why they use them, because they want to intimidate people. And so they stay in their closets. And if they do come out, they live in fear, excuse me, of their shadows. These are just words, people. The left has killed that dead horse, time and time again. And this goes back to your freedoms, your freedom of speech. That's the other thing they want. They call you these names, and it squelches your freedom of speech. Works perfectly for them. And we have people that buy into this shit. They don't want to state their opinions because they're scared that they're going to get called something. Excuse me. Then we've got law enforcement. Not all law enforcement, but we have law enforcement in this country that forget or have forgotten the oath that they took. We got local sheriff here breaking state law, and will he be held accountable? I don't know. I reported it. We'll see. But we've got, during COVID, you had cops arresting people that were out on the beaches by themselves in California. We had people being arrested at school board meetings because they were giving their opinions that that didn't coincide with the school board's beliefs. Had them in this state, people being taken out of school board meetings. We had people being arrested because they wouldn't wear a mask during COVID. Um, those are the law enforcement officers that need to dig down deep and decide. And I don't want to hear, well, I have to do this because it's my job. Otherwise, I'll lose my job. Big deal. If you're going to lower your standards, lower your morals to go against people that you're supposed to protect and serve because some asshole in the county or the state is telling you just to arrest innocent people or screw with innocent people, I'm not going to support you. You're not going to get donations. I'm not going to fly a blue flag, black and blue flag. I don't have time for you. You have disgraced the oath that you took. And it's time for you to suck it up and decide which side of the fence you're going to be on. Then we have judges. Oh my God. They're not really judges, they're activists that now think they run the country. And like I pointed out, every one of those federal judges that are instituting lawfare against President Trump's agenda, the GOP House could be impeaching or defunding, yet they're not doing it. We've got over 150, probably over 200 by now, lawfare interventions to stop President Trump. Anything from election integrity to the National Guard. They're telling him that he can't have National Guard posted in the city when he has absolute power to do so. What else have we got? Anything. I'm sure I'm surprised that they're not instituting lawfare because if you remember back in his first term, they had people complaining that he was taking 2 scoops of ice cream or something like that. It's ridiculous, and something needs to be done about them. The judge in the Comey case, a Biden appointee, Obama appointee, doesn't matter who appointed him. They're lunatic. They're really messing with that case. I will be highly surprised if in the end that he's prosecuted. But we'll see. I question and have questioned many times why our red state attorney generals aren't indicting these people, keeping them out of the hands and the depths of hell of DC. All these criminals. Nothing's happening. Where do we turn to in this country to get some semblance of somebody that gives a shit about arresting and convicting criminals in this country? There's some out there. Yeah, there's some out there. But I'm not seeing it. There is such a small percentage of accountability that could be addressed, but is not. If you look at it, and this is just my opinion, other than most veterans in this country, there is a small percentage, I believe, of people that would literally die or shed blood for this country. Not saying it's a bad thing, not saying it's a necessity, but it makes one wonder how much we are united in the country. I question that. I don't see that we have enough numbers with everything that I've just posted and or just read to you or pointed out to you. I don't see personally, I don't see that we have enough numbers to unify in this country to take it back. Um, One of the fallacies of American citizens is our complacency in this country. And that's what gets us in trouble every damn time when it comes to the bad issues. AI data centers, over 4,000 of them in this country. What has been done to try to stop them? The mosques. What has been done to try to stop them? Criminals. How many videos do we see out there? People recording criminals acting violently or stealing something or whatever the case, and people are not stopping them. I could go on and on. I just don't see. I I I don't see a unified front. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. During the American Revolution, the world was watching what was going on in this with this new country. They were watching closely because a lot of what was happening here was going to affect them as well. And the world is still watching us. They're still watching what's going on in this country because, again, the decisions that happen here, the things that happen here, are going to every country in this world is affected by what happens in this country. We are the guiding light for the rest of the world. Some may disagree with me on that. That's okay. But many economies of countries across this world would fold if it wasn't for this country. So, and with the American Revolution, one would say that there may have been more at stake with our founding fathers. I mean, they were trying to distance themselves from the king. But the only thing with them is they really only had one thing to concern themselves with, and that was to go against the greatest army and navy in the world, to take back their freedoms, and that was it. That was primarily it. If they had if they had to put up with the shit that the American people have to put up with now in this country, I really wonder if they could have handled it. I think they would have been overwhelmed, and they maybe would have went back to England. I don't know. Now we have just found out this morning. Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning on January 5th. Some are out there saying that the date is telling because it will be, she will be resigning right after the fact that she will get her lifetime benefits as a congressional member. I don't care. I don't know. I don't know what the true reason is. Some will say that it was she couldn't handle President Trump coming down on her. I don't care. It is telling. It is uncanny President Trump has this uncanny way of exposing individuals, whether they're weak or whether they're criminals. Um, he has this uncanny knack of exposing them, and she was exposed. She was exposed. I thought she was a ball buster in the beginning when she first started, um, but then she got slammed by McCarthy when he was the Speaker of the House. She got slammed and she got owned by him, and then she started going off the deep end. Um, but we'll see. She can resign. That she has that option, but time will tell what she's really about. Is she going to be one of those people that rides off into the sunset and we don't hear from her anymore? Or is she going to be one of those that jumps on the bandwagon and is going to start talking more bullshit about President Trump? We'll see. Time will tell. So far, with her resignation, as of now, there's about 27 GOP that are resigning before the midterms. Now, granted, that 27 so far. Now, granted, there are some out there, like McConnell, for sure, that have spent enough time in Congress and they need to get out. So I'm glad that they finally utilize some of their brain cells and have done the right thing. What gets me, though, if you don't remember, during President Trump's first term, we had approximately 44 GOP that resigned before the midterms. And you remember what happened there. Pelosi and Schumer took over the House and the Senate. And not long after they did, the impeachments began. 2 of them. And they were trying to do everything they could to stop President Trump. And I just find it interesting that it's like deja vu. Here we go, all over again. And I can guarantee you that if this shit happens again and we lose the House and the Senate, and I've said it before, that the Speaker of the House is going to be Hakeem Jeffries, guaranteed. If Schumer lasts long enough from the fallout of the shutdown, he will be the leader of the Senate, and the impeachment process will almost begin immediately. And if that happens, President Trump's agenda will stop. It'll stop dead in its tracks. So, while some out there talking about who's running for president in 2028, I usually tell them, you know what? Let's survive through the 2026 midterms first. Then we'll talk about the 2028 race. We can't rely on our governments anymore. At the federal, the state, the county, the city levels, we can't rely on them to fix all of the issues that we have. They don't care. Most of them don't care. It's not going to happen. We see this shit every day, and we ask ourselves, why don't they do what we elect them to do? And that's a good question. Are they? I mean, I sit back and I wonder, what do these assholes really get out of doing what they're doing or not doing? Let's say, for example, that they allow the jihadists in this country to get elected and take over county commissioners, counties, cities, city councils, state legislators, positions, and at the federal level, like Omar and Tlaib. What do we get out of them being elected? What do they think that allowing that to happen and not doing anything it helps them? Do they think if this country is taken over by the jihadists that they're going to be immune from what may happen to them because they allowed it to happen? Do they think they're immune from anything happening to them? Do the liberals, do the gay population out there think that they're immune if they help elect socialists, communists, or the jihadists? You know how that shit's going to go. I can guarantee you that if that happens, the gay population better hide very quickly because they're going to be in big trouble. The path we're on, people, the only way out of this is a counter-revolution. The only way out of this is people are going to get bloody. I had said in some videos before President Trump was elected that 2025 was going to be a roller coaster ride. And I think I've been proven right on that. Let me tell you that 2026 is going to be even worse than 2025 in a lot of areas, especially if we lose in the House and the Senate. But the path that we're on with the stuff that I just pointed out and more, there's more. Believe it or not, there's more that's going to come out. And if the GOP doesn't get their shit together and start doing what needs to be done, yes, 2026 is going to get bad. It'll be worse than 2025. And the people are going to have to decide whether they want to. They're going to have to decide how much freedom they want to have in this country. And fighting back is going to be more than just with words. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But one thing is for sure, we don't have another country to go to. This is all we have. We're not the illegals that can leave their country and come to a better country to do whatever, take it over. This is it. This is our freedoms. If we either fight for them or we die. That's what we're up against. I will let you decide what you think is going to happen. That's all I got, people. Again, as I try to end each segment, you see this sign? This is the international sign for someone that's in distress. If you see them doing this, render aid to them as safely and as soon as you possibly can, because they need your help. That's all I got, Patriots. Buckle up. we're in for a long ride, and it's going to get bumpy. Later.